With the Caleb Williams news about watching film and the Chicago Bears, I think it really illuminated a problem and really a deficiency we have within football, and that is teaching players how to understand and digest film. And it's not just the players. This is young coaches. This is journalists. This is anybody that is interested in the game of football. Many times our eyes go to the ball and we end up just watching the ball and we have no idea what is going around. So if I'm really wanting to study an opponent and I want to understand what am I getting from the defense and what am I getting from the offense, I need to be able to look at it in the correct way. And so that's what I'm going to do today. We're going to watch three clips from the Ravens Bengals game. We're going to go through it. I'm going to set up where I like to go with my eyes, how I watch film, and what are some easy ways to identify what's going on in the field. And then what you do with this is you then repeat it for a whole game. Every time I'm watching this, I'm going to repeat the steps, what I should look at, and then go through an entire game. And so by the end of the game, and really what should happen is by about halftime, you should be noticing patterns. You should be noticing ways that offenses and defenses are interacting with each other. So that way you can understand the game in a deep manner. You know, one of the easiest ways to do that is take your eyes off the ball. I'm going to explain what that actually means and then how to actually do it. Let's get into the tape. The first place you should always start is with context is down and distance. Here we have possession and 10. So it's 1st and 10, the ball's on the 30. That tells me where the location is and what the down is. That's going to set the stage. First downs are typically 50-50 downs for most offenses. Then before we even begin, let's take a mental image of what we have on the field. And so I'm a defensive back guy. So my eyes always go to the secondary, right? I want to see this. Okay, we have a too high shell. Now, in modern football, that doesn't mean that we're going to get some sort of split field coverage, but I always start there. Then I want to know, okay, where is the front set? Well, okay, we've got a nose and we've got a 3 technique. Here's my tight end. That brings my eyes now to the tight end. Where is the location of the tight end? You can see that the tight end is on the line. He's in a slotted position, though, but he's hugged the line. So he's not in a traditional 3-point stance for a tight end. He's more in a slotted position. Now, what that tells me is he's probably not going to slice back. So I'm probably not going to get some sort of a split zone or even some sort of a counterplay. This is probably going to be a pass. Now, like most modern offenses, we're going to get a motion. So once we get a motion, I want to see how everything is interacting. So you can see at the beginning, let's identify when I'm doing this, I always want to identify what is the front structure, what is the umbrella, and then where is the nickel or where is the Sam linebacker. Here we have a nickel. We have Kyle Hamilton. So I know I'm in big nickel. We have 3 safeties on the field, and we are in a too high shell. That's going to give me context for what the defense is going to do. We know that the defensive front is setting it to the tight end. So they are basing everything off of the tight end. Now we're going to get a motion. Now I want to see how the defense interacts. Notice how Hamilton doesn't travel with it. So what that tells me right now is that we're probably going to get some sort of a zone play. Hamilton didn't travel with it, so I know that they're not playing man coverage. A lot of times in these pre-snap motions, especially on the very first series, all of this is information gathering for the offense. So always take the first series with a grain of salt because you're getting a lot of information gathering. So you're getting a lot of motions, you're getting a lot of shifts, a lot of unique formations. So here we get a motion. So now I have to reset my eyes. We still have our too high shell, but we're playing a field boundary defense. That sounds weird because the NFL's hashes are so tight. That's okay. We still have the most field to the bottom, and that's where our star is going to be, or our nickel. You can see that we're going to bump out the will. Mike is still going to be squarely in his A gap. We have our 3 technique in our nose. Nothing has changed with the front structure. Why? Because the tight end has not moved. Now let's look at this. So we are going to have a receiver. He has his inside foot up. I'll explain why that's important in just a second. We have a pretty tight split here. Inside foot up typically means he's not going to down block. If he's going to down block or he's going to block for a run, he's probably going to get this back foot or the outside foot up so that he can then have a better angle to it. It's all about angles and efficiency. So we have a tight end that is in a slotted position, but he is tight to the line of scrimmage. He's almost in an inline. We have a front foot here. Now we have a stack and we have Chase outside. We also have a running back that is to the stack side. We call this a dirty bunch. So now I'm thinking, okay, if I get a pass, I'm probably getting some sort of a bunch or a high-low. I'm getting some sort of a layered pass. Now we've done everything pre-snap. I've got a two-high shell. We're in big nickel, and we have an over front to the tight end. At the snap of the ball, you can see that we are going to be playing a cover 3. So just because we had cover 2 shell doesn't mean we're going to get it. Here you can see the safety is going to walk down. That is a clear indicator of cover 3. He's also going to drop inside of the nickel, which means that we are playing 3 buzz. Now, because of the passing strength has changed, the passing strength is over here. This is what you call like a blackboard alignment or a play it, meaning that no matter what the offense does, they were going to play 3 buzz to the field no matter what. So you can see here, how do I know that it's 3 buzz and how do I know that it's cover 3? Well, watch the safety here. He's going to turn and hinge and he's going to work to the post. And if you're saying, well, he didn't go to the post, why didn't he go to the post? Well, let's go back to our original alignment. We have a reduced front. We have a tight end that's slotted. So I don't have to get very far. I know my corner is going to be outside and he's going to funnel it to me. I have a stack over here. This is the most dangerous receiver threat over here. Well, and 2, we also have Jamar Chase. So I actually want to hang where I'm at, but I'm going to pack the hash a little bit. And then I'm going to get my vision on the quarterback here. So again, as the ball is snapped, you can see we get a flat push by the linebacker. He does a really good job basically eliminating this bench concept. Burrow sees the space. Now, this is one of those plays where you can clearly tell where this ball is going to go. You have Kyle Hamilton who knows how to play defense. He's going to work vertically and on the bend. You have 29 who drops down. He's going to be inside. If Burrow's eyes were over here, he would be clearly defined on that dig. So Burrow knows right now, the moment that he sees that he's pushing out wide, he's leaving, I have this linebacker, I'm just looking at depth, I'm going to throw it, get a 5-yard gain. Now we have a vice tackle. So that is play number 1. We had 3 buzz. We had a pretty much a high-low concept outside, and then they snuck the running back in as kind of an outlet. So instead of getting a double push to the flat, they use this. What this reminds me of, and this is really how, again, when you're watching offenses, what is the route play here? This is why corner. So we're going to get a corner, we're going to get a pick, and then we're going to get a flat. If you're saying, well, wait, that's not what we got. Let's look at the end result. Okay. He throws the ball. I have a corner, I have a flat, and I have a spot route right here by the running back. We got the Y corner concept, and then we're going to run a dig backside just in case I need something that's coming across. So we have our Y corner, but they dress it up really nice with a dirty bunch, and they end up throwing to the back out of the backfield. Let's roll right into the next play. We have a 2nd and 3. The ball's on the 37. Okay, so again, we get, he initially goes one way, Burrow's telling him to go the other, not a problem. We still have Hamilton to the field. We're still playing our field boundary. We're still playing an over front. We have another situation with the tight end who is scooched up. We have our inside foot up. So again, I'm thinking, okay, he's probably not going to be trying to block Kyle Hamilton right here. We have another situation where we have kind of a stack, and then we have it under center. So right now I'm thinking this is play action pass. We have a 2 high shell again. We have a press corner who's going to be there. He's going to jump outside right now. And look what we have. We have what's called a quarter half or a cover 6 alignment. And we call it cover 6 because the nickel's over here. So we're going to go, we always want to tag it with the nickel. The nickel's to the left. This is technically going to be the passing strength for the defense, even though the 2 receiver side is over here. We're going to build a triangle over that. Now, one thing that we get here, if you notice, is that we're going to get a play action pass. You can see too that we are now going to have a 3 technique and a nose. So we know that they set the front to the tight end. As we get going, you can see that 23 is going to fill that B gap because he gets run action, and then he's going to work back. We have a flat push, which the corner is going to take, and he's going to midpoint. How do I know it's cover 2? Is because I can watch the corner. The corner is outside. He's got vision on the quarterback, and he's in a trail technique. This is what we call a soft squat. How do I know it's quarters to the bottom? Watch the corner. There is no trail technique. The corner stays on top of the receiver, and he's going to chase it. We also have a deep safety on this side. The corners tend to tell you what you need to know in terms of coverage. 0 is going to pop, and he's going to get vertical because he has to push to 3. 3 goes to the defensive right, so he's going to open up to the defensive right. Hamilton gets vertical, and then he settles waiting for this to come across. He's going to get this. So this is classic cover 2 with 23 essentially. He's got an open gap. He's got to make sure to fill it. 0 can be a little bit more hesitant, but he can see here that the guard right here is actually more or less pass pro. He knows it's not going to be run. He's also been playing in the NFL as his queen. He's been playing in the NFL a long time. So you can tell off of these two who's very instinctual and who's not. 23 just goes and rams himself. But to his defense, you get essentially, this looks like 2 guys on a Crowther here, and they're driving him off, but they're making sure, because the NFL is very strict about the 1 yard down the line. It's not like college where you can have guys like 10 yards down the line and it won't get a call for it. 23 is right there. He sees his gap and he goes. So now when I look at this, I have my triangle here, and then I have my box on the other side, because that's what we're looking for. So I have my triangle here, cover 2, and then I have my box here. I know it doesn't look like a box, but I have a flat, a seam, a quarter, and a quarter. So you can tell that this is cover 6. And so again, pre-snap, I can have a bunch of different identifiers on whether I think that this is a run or a pass, and we get a play action pass. Again, he throws it right in front of his face. We have a vice tackle in zone coverage. 3rd play in a row. Now we have a 1st and 10. Ball's now on the 43. So what I envision here is we are now in the shot zone. So I'm thinking play action. I'm thinking shots. I want to see how the offense is going to react. Now here we have a tight end. And to me, this is a little bit of gamesmanship here by the Bengals, is that I have Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki is not really a guy that you would think of a blocker. He's more of an F, right? He's not really an online tight end. But here I wanted to mention in the first 2 plays about the tight end. He was up tight. Even though he was in slotted, you could have essentially, if he puts his hand down, you have an online tight end. Look at the depth that we have now. So the tight end is actually deep. He's clearly defined that he's on a different level. What that tells me is we're going to get slice action out of this. And what slice action means is we're going to get some sort of slice action. Now, in modern football, that guy can keep going. Okay. But we also have under center, and then we have our stack, and it's kind of pushed out a little bit wide. And then we also have some width over here. So we're trying to get wide. A lot of times offenses give you a little bit of width because they know that they can match this out, or that they think that they're trying to get this box to fit with 6. And so that's kind of what we're going to get here. So you can see under center, we're going to get an over front. So we're going to get a nose, and we're going to get a 3 technique, and we have 2 stand-up defensive ends. We have a guy aligned in his gap in the B, so we have a 10-40 where he's in. A 10 just means you add 1-0 for the linebacker. So a 10 is he's in the A gap, and he's in the second level. You can see he's kind of in a 40 or a 30, but he is in the second level. So at the snap of the ball, you can see that we are going to get a run. You can see that we have our nose in the A gap. Our 3 technique is going to build a wall here, and he's going to get his head inside. And then our defensive end is also going to build a wall with his head outside and being able to clearly see this. You can see that 53 is going to work, and he's going to box this pole, and 23 is going to fit right inside. 0's got to fit that A gap. Coverage wise, we have something really interesting here. So we have a 2-high shell, but at the snap of the ball, we still run Tampa 2. So you can see that this ends up being a Tampa 2. And if you're like, well, wait, the mic's not charging. Well, this is what you call a non-traditional Tampa. So the nickel is actually going to pop out, and he is going to be the deep half. We have a safety over here. He will be the deep half. Our safety is actually going to slide in the middle, and he is going to be our pole runner. We will then have our two seam players, and both of our corners are going to play essentially what we would call a squat technique on the outside. That is if I put a whiteboard of X's on a board of a Tampa 2, that's exactly what this should look like. So we have our over front. We're going to run a non-traditional Tampa, what I call 2-hole, putting the safety in the hole. You can see that clearly right here, and we end up getting a run. Now, because we got a run, that's when we want to then watch the inside tape. And so here we have the end zone tape. You can see with the motion. This is what I like about watching this from behind. You can now see the front structures. Typically, when you get a pass, unless it's a sack or a blitz that comes open, you want to see how it affected the protection. You don't necessarily have to watch the end zone copy. I know O-line, D-line coaches are like, yeah, but that's where the magic happens. But if you're just trying to understand, I want to understand what's going on. We're going to watch the end zone copy here. You can see that as the tight end shifts, we go from an over to an over. We have clearly in the A gap, we have a 3 technique, and then we have a 6 here. He's tilted in, which tells me, again, if we're looking for context clues, this tells me he's going to try and fit in right here. We've got him in the B gap. We've got him in the A gap. He's going to be in the C gap, B, and then A. So we can see this. Now, what's nice is we're going to have this guy fold in, and he's going to be what I call a cap defender, and he can go either way depending on where the run is. He's just going to fit where he's needed, and he's going to drop off the back. And this is why on some of these early downs, you can see 2-hole run, because it basically is like getting into a 3-high defense. So this is essentially fitting like a 3-high 4-down. So as we get this, you can see this is man blocking here. We're not getting zone. The only person really zoning is Mims. You can see that he is galloping up to 23. 23 does a really good job of faking inside and then busting out, because you have to win this gap. Because if you notice right here, we really don't have 7 defenders. 29 is coming late. He's getting cracked here by this wide receiver down here. 53 is going to close that B gap, but he's going to box. He's not going to spill it. Now, you can argue there's guys that would prefer that you spill it. Usually in the NFL, you're going to get some sort of a box from the defensive end. 23 does a really good job, shows up in the B gap. 92 does a good job of defeating the double team. You can see here that the center and the guard are working to him. What I call this here on this right side is a prop. So you can see that they're building a wall, and then they are playing gap and a half. He can put his hat here, but if he needs to move, he can. He's putting his hat here, but if he needs to move, he can, because essentially if the running back bends back, both of these guys will go back with him. And then hopefully 0 meets him here, and then 23 meets him here. So you've created a massive wall, and then everybody falls back on the running back with 53 building that wall. And what you do is you basically create a vice. So here again, you can see it's going to hit straight, and then it's going to bounce back. 30 sees it, and he just basically barrels into his own guy, and the play is over. The key when starting to understand how to watch film is that I want to start watching from my position's point of view. So for me, I always typically start with the DBs. I want to watch receiver departure angles. I want to see where guys are going. What's their speed off the ball? I think you stay within your circle of competence. If you're one of those that's just like, well, I need to understand kind of the whole defense or the whole offense and what they're trying to do, then look for the context clues. And that's essentially what we did in this. Was really, we weren't getting granular about how do I watch it as a DB, how do I watch it as a linebacker, or how do I watch it as a D lineman. We're more broad stroke of, hey, this is how you can watch the game. I want context clues from the down and distance. Where's the front structure? Because that's going to set the bubbles in the run game. What is the coverage? Because that's going to set the bubbles in the passing game. And then being able to identify coverage off of really kind of your context clues from where the safety is going, and then what are the corners doing on the outside. Those will typically give you the answers that you're looking for. Hopefully this allows you to then be able to replicate this play by play, take your time, see what you need to see, and then move on to the next and start seeing the patterns in the film.